Hello, Nerd Fam, and welcome to our extended coverage for Google Cloud Next 2025 here in our Palo Alto, California studios. My name's Savannah Peterson. Very excited to be talking all things Elastic today. Please welcome Alyssa to the show. Alyssa, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Hi, I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you for having me.
This is super exciting. So we're going to be covering your announcements, we're going to be covering the awards you've won, and the partnership with Google. Let's start off with all the exciting news that you were able to share in Las Vegas 2 weeks ago.
Well, it was a very exciting event for us. Just to start straight out of the gates, we won two Partner of the Year awards, two, which was very exciting for us. We were thrilled not just to win, but to win twice. And so both in the AI category, one is for data management and AI, and the other is the Artificial Intelligence Partner of the Year for tooling. And so that was very exciting for us to come straight out of the gates on top of 2 years in a row of winning Partner of the Year awards to just really anchor in on AI. It just underscores not only our commitment, but our shared commitment with Google in the AI space. So really couldn't be more delighted about that. And we also took the opportunity with Google Next to make several other announcements that coincide with our work together with Google. One is the integration of our Elasticsearch vector database as a native grounding engine in Google Cloud's Vertex AI platform. That's like a whole mouthful of words, but it just basically means that we are now a native vector database within their platform, which enables the AI story. The next thing is we also we GA'd our Elastic Google Cloud Vertex AI platform integration to observability, to our Elastic Observability. So it extends our capability for our LLM across the Google Cloud Vertex AI platform. And then finally, Google had announced their Axiom processors later last year, and we just announced some significant performance gains running Elasticsearch on those processors. So all very tied to Google, our work with Google, our innovation with Google, how we deepen our partnership with them, not only in how we're going to market, but specifically around our integration around AI.
Wow, so lots of exciting announcements. Congratulations to you and the team, both on those awards, as well as all the very rapid progress it sounds like you're making and deepening and integrating here. Super exciting. Talk to me a little bit about what the relationship is like with Google, how frequently you're communicating to be able to iterate, particularly at this high-paced AI velocity that we're all operating at, and how this all got started.
So we've got a really deep partnership, and we run the partnership on several angles. So obviously we've got an alliance together where we work together on our monthly business reviews, our quarterly business reviews, and we're looking at the relationship. But that relationship is founded not only in engineering, in the way that our two companies roadmap together, and we look at how we're innovating and co-engineering. And as Google releases their roadmaps and we release ours, we always have innovation strategy sessions to make sure that we're lockstep together as we're developing. We also are lockstep together in marketing. And so that as we are releasing some of this incredible technology together, we have the chance to amplify that to the market. And that's really important that those two are working hand in hand together, because it's one thing to release product, but if you don't talk about it, nobody knows about it. So we really work cohesively together on those two fronts, which is really all governed by our executive relationships. Our CEO spends a lot of time with Google. Our chief product officer, a lot of time with Google. And so we're constantly meeting, innovating, and spending time together. Further to that, we meet in the market. And so we've got a team all around the globe that work to drive how does Elastic show up with Google? How does Google show up with Elastic? And we're introducing each other to customers. We're bringing each other into markets, constantly communicating on how we grow. We're both very scrappy, and we are a very good fit together.
Clearly, I mean, you wouldn't be doing all this award-winning work together if you weren't. You mentioned customers. Looking at Elastic, you serve some of the biggest and sexiest brands on the planet. What does it mean for you to be able to leverage a partner like Google and be able to integrate across the platform this way in terms of your continued service for those community members? And how has the reception been so far to these announcements?
So I'm actually really glad you brought that up because the relationship with Google is unique in that we bring each other into customers, and that's we're both out selling, but we recognize each other's capabilities and the deep integrations that we have, and so we're constantly pushing each other into customers, and bring each other into new markets, and we're looking at specifically going after markets and launching together. Our customers expect to have an integrated solution together. And so we're constantly making sure that our customers are challenging our integration and our partnership. Our customers push our technology and they push Google's technology. So together we bring that cohesively. I think the most important thing is that we're listening to each other. As we hear from our customers and as we're designing and engineering our products together, we're constantly going back and iterating together and bringing in new ideation, new features. And the top brass in our company work with the top brass at Google to make sure that we're lockstep in those innovations. And then we bring that to our customers. And with the most recent announcements that we made a couple of weeks ago, most of those are in early public preview, but so far the feedback from our early adopters has been very, very positive. They do talk about the ease of configuration for AI developers, the productivity and the efficiencies that it's driving for their internal teams, and then the enhanced user experience of our two technologies coming together is something that we hear a lot of feedback on, the how it's pleasing the customers. We also know that as we go forward, we're going to continue to take customer input. We'll continue to take each other's engineering inputs so that we can drive efficiencies and innovation into both of our businesses.
It's clear how deep and solid that collaboration is. I can tell just from the way you're talking and also the results that y'all are producing together. I'm curious, you talked a lot about those parallel roadmaps and talking to customers and going after markets together. Given the velocity that everything is accelerated to over the last 24 months, just as a benchmark, how iterative is that product roadmap for you all? Because I would imagine as new challenges come up or like you mentioned, new processors are released or different things happen, you're kind of constantly having to evolve. We can't be operating so much on a 5-year plan. So what is that runway like for you? It seems like there would have to be a ton of agility to be leading in the way that you're leading right now.
You're absolutely right. And I've been in the partner space for 30 years. And most of the partnerships that I've seen, and when we talk about successful partnerships, it's really around how we go to market together. But when I think about what Google and Elastic have done, it's almost like we're resetting what good looks like when it comes to a partnership, because it is anchored in engineering, it is anchored in innovation. And I think that's a piece of advice I'd push out to the partner ecosystem is, hey, today, it's not enough to go to market together. You have to engineer together. You've got to bring your products together and solution. And when you're doing that and you're delivering on it and you're constantly working together, then you're always at the ready for the next opportunity. And being that kind of relationship, being in that relationship with Google, we do get the first call. They get our first calls. And so that's what's created that ability to have that agility and that always on integration opportunity. And so when something is about to pop, we're ready for it and we're going to jump on that opportunity. And it's not waiting for whether the customers are asking for the integration or asking for that technology. It's getting ahead of those asks and working together to drive that. And it is unblocking and unlocking the ideation of our two organizations. And I really think that if we look at the partnering of yesterday and the partnering of tomorrow, it's a very different model. And it really does come down to how is the technology working together and how do we make it easier, efficient, and simple for our customers to adopt?
Oh, I love to hear it. And that's such a great point. I mean, we're definitely in an era where you can hear the sound of glass shattering as we break down these silos and try and bring teams together and bring ideas together. It's no wonder you're doing what you're doing. I mean, being a leader in AI search and working with what most would consider the OG search company, no pressure at all. I mean, it obviously speaks to how best in breed that you are. When it comes to that, you just touched on something I think is a really unique value and an interesting challenge. I mean, you're essentially forecasting for tooling that may not be needed yet today. There might not even be data. We're moving so fast. There isn't necessarily research in a lot of these markets with the tools, tooling being a massive conversation at every company as they build out their AI stack and their AI solutions. You being an award-winning partner for that, I think really speaks a lot to that. How do you know what to build?
Well, um, every technology innovation grows the pie, changes the pie, right? And so, as you know, who would have thought what AI would have done? Actually, I think a lot of us did predict what the AI impact was going to be, but maybe not to the degree that it has been. And so, we do have to be very, very vigilant about what's coming and what is possible and where we place our bets. Also, knowing that co-opetition is a part of the tech industry. And so you mentioned Google being, the OG of search and Elastic the same breath. Well, we know that we have co-opetition, but we know that the overall market is enormous and it's continuing to evolve. And so we need to continue to evolve with it. And as we look at it as a pie that grows every day based on new technology innovations, it's not a zero sum game. It's constantly changing and innovating, and we've got to be agile with that. When I look at the ecosystem and how the changes that have happened in the last 6 or 8 months around AI and how it's accelerating that innovation, knowing what's next does require communication between the best brains in the industry. And so that's how we find out where we need to go together is not only do we have our own innovative team working on our future, they're working on theirs, and when we bring it together, it's on fire. And so that's what's really exciting about this. And we also launched an ecosystem called the Search AI ecosystem late last year. And that is a collection of vendors and organizations that come together to produce an AI solution for a customer. And so it's really a coalition or a collection of all the right players. And Google was one of the first ones to say, hey, I want to join that ecosystem. That ecosystem has been growing and we've been really learning from each other. And it has allowed cross collaboration across a number of organizations that you wouldn't necessarily see us working together in without a customer pushing us one step or two. But what we've done is we're trying to solve for the customer in advance of the customer needs. And so predicting those customer needs really becomes a rich model when you bring together the best brains from the companies that are innovating around the globe.
I mean, you're just nailing it. You're a soundbite queen, Alyssa. I really agree with a lot of what you're saying. I mean that genuinely. The production team back here would tell you that I do not say that lightly. But it really is important, and it is this constant discussion, this elevated brain power. The sum is greater than the parts when you pull together all of these pieces and the experiences and the components of the solution that everybody has. I mean, it's such an interesting time. I just got to sit on this for a second. You brought up the ecosystem, and one of the angles I've been taking as an analyst the last few months in particular is it's not about single companies like it used to be. I don't think we'll have one hyperscaler that wins the AI championship that we're a part of and actively competing for right now. I think it's going to be the ecosystem that best serves the developers, the users, that is the most secure, the most thoughtful, the most intuitive UI, that's going to pull all of this together and provide the best results. And that's going to involve a lot of different ingredients to make the best celebratory
Absolutely.
cake, if you will. So I think that's I think it's really interesting, and to me that's actually one of the things that I took away most from Google Cloud Next and the interviews we've done both on the ground as well as surrounding this event is they're really thinking about the ecosystem. And I think
Yes.
if I'm someone who's not as ecosystem driven or watching what came out of Google Cloud Next the last couple of weeks, I'm a little nervous because if you have all the best players on your team, you're going to win the championship. You know, it makes a lot of sense. I'm curious, Alyssa, how big is the team?
How big is the
Elastic.
team?
Yeah.
The Elastic. So we're just under 4,000 employees today, and so we're small and mighty.
Yeah, that's an awesome position to be in. So you can still move with agility, but also have the strength and breadth to really be a super strong player in the Google ecosystem. That's pretty exciting. You've got a lot going on right now. What's coming next? What are you going to be able to tell us at next Google Cloud Next in 2026 that you can't yet tell us today?
Well, the tech space does continue to evolve rapidly, and you can count on the fact that Elastic will be right there with us along the way. The momentous shift to AI, that is changing the landscape completely, and we're being very, very quick in our response, but also thoughtful in how we approach. Yes, there is many options out there, and I actually liked where you're going with the concept of a recipe. And I believe that the recipe for our customers is different for every customer. And you know, you're not going to bake the same cake for everyone's birthday. Everyone's going to want something a little bit different. So having the flexibility and creating that ecosystem so that we can ebb and flow based on the needs of our customer. Um, as well as each one of these companies that we're working together with in this ecosystem of a recipe for the customer, as we continue to evolve, we will adapt to the ever-changing technology space and all of the different innovations that are coming. Who knows what the next big event is going to be, but when I think back to some of the major technology revolutions that have happened, they're getting faster and faster. And so what just happened with AI, we can expect the next major technology revolution or change to our market to happen in the next couple of years, not 5 to 10 years down the road. So we've really got to stay attuned to what our customers are doing with the technology and how they're innovating, because there are pockets of brilliance all over the globe. And if we're not listening to the way our customers use our technology, we won't innovate fast enough. And so it really is taking those signals in, and guess who can do that? AI. AI can help us take those signals in and actually innovate faster. So innovation is driving the innovation of the future. Where is Elastic going to be? Well, we will be a household name in the next 5 to 10 years. And you know that we're going to be on the stage again with Google next year. So we're thrilled with the partnership. We're not slowing down. We won't take our foot off the pedal because Google matters, and it matters greatly to Elastic.
I love it. Beautifully said. And you all heard it here first, folks. Elastic, household name. You can be a few years ahead of the game by having paid attention. Final question for you, Alyssa. If it was your birthday, what cake would you like us to make you?
It's funny that you ask that, because I'll just go real personal for a second. My son just had his birthday, and I had tried to make him an icebox cake and found out that the chocolate wafers, they have been built or made for a century, went off the market last year. And so I had to pivot and bake a whole different cake for him, because those chocolate wafers that I've counted on for years don't exist anymore. So I had to innovate in my own household. So you never know what's going to happen if something gets end of life. Well, we got to pivot and try something new. So for me, chocolate all the way.
I love that. How old's your son?
He just turned 19.
Well, happy birthday to him. And how lucky is he that he has an innovative mother, both at work and in the kitchen. Alyssa, thank you so much for taking the time today. This has been an absolute blast. I appreciate you.
Likewise, Savannah, thank you so much for the time. I appreciate it.
Any time, dear. Look forward to covering this story as it evolves over the next 5 to 10 years. And thank all of you for tuning in for our continued Google Cloud Next coverage. Coming to you today from Palo Alto, California, my name is Savannah Peterson. You're watching theCUBE, the leading source for enterprise tech news.